Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr, and you are listening to Fiber Talk, that twice weekly podcast for people who make fine art with the needle and the thread. We're not stabbing today because we have Patti Hoffmann with us from Stitch Stash Store. Hi, Patti.
Hi there. Don't say that too many times too quickly.
I thought I had that all lined up. I actually practiced. Stitch Stash. You have to be careful with that one.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah. So, okay, well, where does that come from? Now that you've twisted my tongue around, how do you, because the stitch is obvious, but then the stash is not always obvious to people, so.
Yeah, in needlepoint, your stash is your bag of goods.
Yep.
You know, what you come home with, your collection. And through a lot of talking with my husband, he's been my biggest advocate and helper, and he came up with it, and I was like, okay, there we go. You know, it just kind of fell into place. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's great. So you're a rare bird here, and probably a little off your rocker because you're starting a brand new, what just been open a month and a half, brand new from scratch store. Whoa.
Yeah, I opened up August 5th in Rehoboth, Delaware. It used to be a monogramming store. The owner owned this business for 38 years, and when I started looking around for locations and things like that, I wanted to be in Bethany Beach. It's a very small town. There was no retail space, so I went up to Rehoboth and started walking around, and again, my husband saw this place. There was these giant hydrangea bushes out front, and he said, that's your location. I met the owner the next day. She was phenomenal, and we hit it off, and she said, great, whenever you're ready, let's open your store here. And I did. So it was an amazing experience trying to, find the location, but it's an old house from 1900.
Oh, so some character to it.
Yeah, but it's 2 floors. It's a selling floor, and upstairs I have an opportunity to have a teaching room and an office and a bathroom. So, yeah, it's a really well laid out, bright store. She had a monogramming store, so the lighting is really well, really bright. I have big, huge windows, 6 foot by 6 foot windows in the front, so people can see it from the street, and really cute awnings, which I'm having updated soon. I have to get that approved through the town, but yeah, so it's been exciting.
So has this been a lifelong dream? Something always wanted to own a business? What prompts this kind of thing?
I've always been in retail. I went to college for merchandising. I worked throughout my life in the retail businesses. My last job was with Calvin Klein merchandising for 9 years. My husband and I moved to Delaware a year ago, and my dream was to come down here and open up a store. I thought it was going to take another year or two, but all of a sudden, kind of mid-February, March, my husband and I were talking, and we said, let's go for it. And we did, and opened up August 5th.
So you have that in the needlework world. Not too many of you folks who own stores have the business background, the retail background that I think is a powerful tool when you start a business like this. So many people, it's a hobby, and it just kind of grows out of a basement or out of the garage or something, and then becomes a store. But they don't have a business background. That really. So you approach it from that different perspective of really looking at the business part and getting that lined up.
Yep. I started working in a store when I was 14. I've had jobs since. Actually, when I left Calvin Klein in October, it was the first time I've ever not worked. And that was I'm a little too young for that. And so I needed something. I said, it's time. I got to go back to work. And so I've always had jobs. I've always worked in the retail industry. And I love working in stores. I love working with the people, talking to people, meeting new people. The one thing I have to get better at is learning people's names. But, I enjoy being in stores. I enjoy talking to new people and different types of people.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference that makes when people walk in and you know their name. I'm terrible at that. You could introduce me to someone, I say hi to them, come back to me 5 seconds later, and I can't remember their name. I'm terrible. And yeah, to be able to do that when people walk in the door, and I know what a difference it makes for me. I ride, as I've mentioned many times, I ride bike, long distance bike riding, and I take care of my bikes, the majority of it, but the heavy mechanical stuff I have done at a local shop. But I'm only in there, maybe 3-4 times a year. And by golly, you walk in there and the mechanic and the owner will look up and say my name, and what a difference that makes. And it just amazes me they remember, because I just don't come in that often. But I think that's one of the keys. It really is when people come in the store and you remember their name. So yeah, more power to you if you can learn how to do that.
And I think at this day and age too, one thing that is really important to me is customer service, and welcoming people when they come in your store, acknowledging them, talking to different types of people and asking about them is a big thing for me. So that's one thing I'm really trying to focus on. And, right now I am the only employee. So, if and when, which I will be hiring some people at some point next spring, customer service is just a really big thing for me, that you can learn, talk to people and make them feel welcome.
Yeah, well, and that's the culture we're in. Customer service when they come in the store, but people anymore with the internet and social media, we all have an expectation of instant gratification. And that service, and people can track packages and all those things. So if you're not able to deliver that, people will go elsewhere. So yeah, there's an element of pressure to do that on all fronts. Yes. Yep.
And that's what keeps people coming back.
Oh yeah.
Whether they're visiting Rehoboth and they want to come back to see my store, or if they call me online, call me and say, hey, I want to order this, or can go to my website, they'll keep coming back to my store because of the customer service.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just so key. More so, I think, than ever.
Yeah.
I sometimes refer to us as a McDonald's generation. We want the food before we order it, and
yes,
and everything has to be that way, and we have the technology to do it. So when you can't deliver it, it really really hurts you. Yeah. So all right. So you have this place, and your husband selected a place and a name for you. So
yeah, I know. It's his fault.
Yes, yeah. Okay, that there's a plus there. Yeah, somewhere to point the finger. That's right. But what makes you? From what I can see, you're primarily painted needlepoint canvas. Is that what's the decision process there?
I've only done hand painted canvases. I've never cross stitched. I've never embroidered. I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Oh my!
I know people ask me questions. I'm like, I don't know. I think there's three stages in this whole thing. There's painters, there's stitchers, and then there's finishers. I'm the middle guy. I am not a painter. I will never claim to be. They do an amazing job, and then there's finishers that do an amazing job. I never want to step on either one of their toes.
Yeah. So then that's what you stitch, that's what so that's what your shop is.
Yes. Yeah. And in this area, I'm in a beach community. It's becoming more yearly, but there's no other hand-painted canvas stores around. There's one that carries a few threads, but in general, there's nothing within 2 hours of me that carry hand-painted canvases and the thread selection that I carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wondered about that seasonal thing, but that's changing, huh?
Yes, it is. Nowadays, I'm in a bigger town than what I originally wanted, Bethany Beach, but I went up to Rehoboth, which is only a few miles difference, and it's a much bigger town, a lot more year-round businesses. So, and the town promotes a lot of things. There's festivals, and they do all kinds of things on the weekends throughout the whole year to bring people into the town.
Yeah, because I know for shops, say in Florida and Arizona, boy, when summer comes and everybody heads north, they can struggle quite a bit, and so to be able to keep business going year round it can be a real trick for them. So that's good that you don't have that, and that's interesting. I live in a small town northwest of Chicago, and actually two towns, east and west Dundee, on either side of a river, and been here. 30 years, no, 40, 45 years, something like that, long time. But I've watched these small towns finally wake up and realize that if they don't do things on an ongoing basis that bring people into town and promote the businesses, that they're going to die. And
yes.
so when you say that the town is doing that, that's a huge plus for anybody.
Yeah, we have an extremely strong Chamber of Commerce, and they are there to promote businesses. They don't necessarily say, hey, let's promote needlepoint or,
No.
But they bring people through. There's a Sea Witch Festival that happens in October that brings in thousands of people. It's a big parade. It's a whole big thing for a weekend. That'll bring people in to the shops.
Yeah.
All the shops, which is great.
Right. Oh, yeah. And then word of mouth can go from there, too.
Yep.
A friend does needlework. Hey, I saw this shop we were at this festival, and you never know how that's going to pay off for you. But the fact that you can be in town when that's happening and all those people are around it's just huge. Yeah. Very valuable.
Yeah. And there's a big restaurant business. In fact, there's a new restaurant hopefully opening up sometime soon right across the street from me. When people are waiting for the restaurant, like
right.
their reservations to be ready, waiting to sit, they can come across and come check out the store.
Yep. Well, yeah, and if you got giant windows like that, yeah, that's going to be inviting.
Yep. I can see people walk up to the windows all the time and kind of look in, and they come in and they say, "What is this?" Or, so there's a lot of beginners out there, a lot of people who say, "Oh, I did needlepoint years ago," and then they come in and they say, "But I like these new canvases. They're so bright, they're colorful." And so I'm bringing needlepoint back to Rehoboth, kind of thing.
But isn't that, and that's you hear that. I did it years ago, and people just don't realize, a lot of people I don't think realize how much the whole stitching hobby, needle art hobby has changed from years ago of wool and basket weave. And
yes.
Yeah, there's so much more you can do on so many fronts.
Yep. I had a piece I stitched and sold a stitch guide, and I had a woman who said to me a million times, I've been stitching since the 70s. I know how to do this. And I said, oh, okay, great. More power to you. I'm happy for you. And it was just kind of funny because, she struggled with some of the parts, and so, well, maybe I don't know, as much. And I said, no, it's okay. It's all good. I'm here to teach you new things, and that's what we all have to learn from each other.
Right. Well, that's just it. There's new threads. We use stitches like weren't used 40 or 50 years ago, and to be able to learn that, it adds an exciting dimension. And,
yes.
and for people who are convinced they know it all, oops, there's a whole new challenge for you right there. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know how you could say you know it all too, because some do, and I'm like, there's so much to learn. There's so many different things. Every time you use a different thread, it's new. It's exciting.
Right. Oh yeah. There's just so much anymore. There really isn't, and that's just it. I mean, you do needlepoint for a while, and you say, boy, I'm kind of losing my enthusiasm. There's 8 or 10 other stitching techniques you can go learn and regain some enthusiasm and build your skills too. So it's there's all kinds. So what? I'm curious, and I'm so anxious to talk to you, because the process, the mental process you had to go through to determine how to stock a store. How do you?
Challenging.
Yeah, because I mean, first there's a ton of painted canvas designers, old veterans, and some of these new young designers are just so much fun. We had Shayna on here a short while ago, and Kimberly Ann, and
She's amazing.
Yeah, and they're bringing such a new life to the hobby that it is so much fun. So you got to sort through all of those canvases, but then you got to have threads. And take me through that process, that mental process of how do you say yes to everything and no to everything and not make a mistake?
I know. And there's mistakes to be had. I mean, I definitely opened my store. I'm in a beach community. I bought a lot of beach canvases. I'm not selling them as well as I'm selling floral.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. You'd think that you'd be selling, especially in the summer, you start in August, that beach canvases would be the hot thing. But, and you're by the water, for crying out loud.
Exactly. If you go to any store in the town of Rehoboth, all they sell is beach items. And so we'll see next summer. I mean, it could be totally different next summer being open the whole season. But the month of August, I sold, things I wasn't expecting, which is good. I mean, certainly not a complaint.
Yeah. Well, and that'll be interesting to see too, if that's a cycle thing, so that you sell beach stuff in the late winter, early spring. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, and that's just going to come with time. But
yeah.
So all right. So beach canvases are selling, floral canvases are selling, but you had to make some calls on canvases. You had to stock the store with something.
Yeah. So basically, I have a loan with the bank to start the store, and their process was that I needed to know what exactly, dollar for dollar, that I was purchasing before I opened up the store. So I had to go to, this was unbelievable. And so I had to make spreadsheets with pictures of exactly what table I was going to buy, what canvases I was going to buy, what vendors I was going to spend money with, and I had to block it all out. So I shopped everybody's website that I could, and went through and scrolled through and picked out what I wanted, put it on a spreadsheet and gave it to the bank. And the bank said, okay, after, a long process. And so it gave me the homework I needed. I thought it was going to be the other way around. Here's some money, go buy. And it was, no, you need to tell us what you want to buy. So it worked out really good. It was a homework, event that went on for quite a while, but it gave me a full understanding of what I was doing before I got into it.
That's interesting that they would make you do that. But when you look back on it, in this day of lending money to new retail establishments, I wonder if banks haven't just had to look at how can we make sure that somebody's actually sat down and thought this through.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And they wanted to make sure that every single dollar I spend goes towards my inventory or, towards the category that it was put into. They didn't hand me any money. Everything gets paid through the bank for my initial purchases.
Oh, really?
And yeah, which, anyone out there thinking about starting this can call me because I went through a very long process. And so any thread lines I wanted to buy, the check comes directly from my bank sent to the vendor. So it's been an interesting way of doing things.
Wow. Because any other loan, it's, here's a check, now as long as you pay it back, we don't care.
Yeah. Not with the one I went through. But that's okay because, I truly was buying what I was buying, and it made me do my homework. It made me think about it more. It made me really understand the process and what I was doing a lot more.
Right. Well, and you had that leg up because you have the retail background, so wasn't like they were putting you through something you hadn't done before. So that's a plus. All right, threads. I can't imagine. It seems to me every store, if you're going to have you have to have a lot of thread these days. You have to have several lines, and you have to carry just about as many of the colors in those lines as you can. How do you make that decision? Obviously you buy the DMC. You probably that's automatic.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I did. DMC was the one I didn't. It's on my list of something I'd love to have in the store, but I didn't. I started with Rainbow Gallery, Access Commodities, who sells Soie d'Alger. Soie d'Alger is one of my favorite ones to stitch with. um, uh, pepper pot.
That's some of my favorite right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Silk straw. That's one of my favorites. And Krynic. How could you go without Krynic?
Right, right.
So I tried to pick a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of, not sparkle, strandable, and have a nice variety of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have wool. I have Bella Lusa, which is a wool. It's a very thin wool, but I like it. It's great for bunnies and, certain things. It works perfect for clothing and things like that.
Yeah. But at some point, you're just simply making an educated guess. You just got to... Yep, just go for it. And then the first customer that walks in wants a color you don't have, guaranteed, right?
Well, you know what? It's funny. The threads I did buy, I bought the entire line. So
okay.
If I have Pepper Pot, I own the entire line. Petite Silk Lame, the whole line. Soie d'Alger has 625 colors, I think.
Oh, man.
I bought every single color. Yeah. So that way I wasn't guessing and saying, oh, well, maybe they have this color that I don't have. Nope, I bought it all. So anything I bought the full line.
Excellent. Yep. Covered. Yeah.
Yep.
And any individual hobbyist, Soie d'Alger, the whole line, can you imagine owning every single color? Oh, geez.
It's beautiful. It's just a wall of rainbow. I love it. I, painted every wall white, and the colors are just popping right off the walls.
Yeah, and that's the other part is you got to design the store. So you go with white all the way around to make the colors pop out of there.
Yep. I did white in my entire store. I felt, just make the canvases pop as opposed to a color.
Mm-hmm. And you had good lighting, you said.
Yeah, it's a real bright store. Great lighting, really kind of wide open store. So it's very airy and people feel like they can walk around. It's not too cluttered.
Oh, okay.
Although I keep wanting to buy more thread lines, so that may clutter it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that, you start with the open spaces and then, over time, another carousel gets put in. Well, there's room here and we can get this one in. And
yeah. So, I can just shove this one in this corner and absolutely got to have this. So, I'll find a spot for it.
Yeah.
But so far, it's really just bright and airy, which is something I liked and I really wanted.
That's great. And the lighting's so key. Well, it's just so key anymore. You just have to, and it's affordable with LED lights. You can get nice bright lighting without running up your electrical bill, but you have to have that. So do we have a place for people to come in and stitch on the main floor, or is that yet to come?
Yep. I have a nice big, 60-inch round table with chairs. I have a couch for men who want to come in and sit down. The husbands that come, they come in and go right there with a table with a charger right there. So in case they want to charge their phone.
Excellent. All right. I'll be out there. No.
Yep.
Actually,
that was my husband's wish, was to have that, a couch for a husband to sit at with a place to charge his phone.
Uh-huh. Yeah, actually, I'm the wrong person because I don't even care about that. I'll sit at the round table, but yeah, huge plus there. Yes, yep, yeah. I'll go to the store with you. I'll just sit in that couch and while away the time. Yeah. So do you have a day where people come in to stitch, or is it just open as an ongoing thing?
Well, I'm open 7 days a week now. And I'm going to start stitching days starting in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I was just sort of going to get through market. And, since I did all my buying online, a month and a half ago, I'm going to experience then going to market. But I've in the past, I've helped Kate Dickerson at market and Kim from the collection. So I do, I've been to Dallas before. So it'll be great coming from a different angle, too. And I'm helping Kim again.
Yeah. Yeah, and get to go there. I'm purchasing for my store now. Yes.
Yeah. And getting to meet the people that I've talked to on the phone.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
With that I didn't know that I've had phone conversations with. So.
Yeah. Fun stuff there. Yeah. So classes. I mean, what is your plan for? You're going to have people come in. How are you going to handle all that?
Yeah, I have a beginner piece that I'm working on with the painter, that she's, we're going to do some initials and things like that. And we have a beginner piece that I'm having painted right now. And I'm going to have people come in like, an hour once or twice a week or whatever, make some set times and have people come in and learn how to needlepoint.
Oh,
I do have some beginners. I have one of my fun customers that keeps coming in. She comes in every 2 or 3 days. She bought a piece from Patty Mann, and it's a beautiful piece she's stitching for her daughter. She's never stitched before. So I'm giving her all these kind of stitches, and we're having fun doing the piece. Every other day she comes in, is this right? Is this right? I'm like, yep, keep going. So it's been fun teaching people that either have never stitched or haven't stitched in a long time.
yeah, no, that's great. And then of course they spread the word too, so that's important. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you already have some regular customers. Did you have friends and fellow stitchers that sitting around, when you're going to open up?
Yes. In fact, so I lived in Connecticut for 20 years, and all of my friends from home were not stitchers.
Oh,
So I've met a lot of people through going to different retreats or being at market or just going to different events at different stores throughout the tri-state area. So I've gotten to know a lot of people. So those people have, definitely helped promote my business,
yeah.
which is nice. And I'm holding a retreat in the store in November. So I sold out in a day for that. I have 30 women coming to the store for a weekend retreat.
You sold out your first retreat in a day?
Yeah. Isn't that
Outstanding.
crazy? I
Outstanding.
love it. I'm so excited. And I have 15 people on the wait list. Um,
Excellent.
I thought about having a second one, and I said, let me figure out the first one first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, get through that one. That's right.
Yeah, let me understand what it means, to have all these women come. But we're going to have 3 days. They can bring whatever they want to stitch. We'll order in some lunches and, just have a good time and get to know new people. And there's people coming from Chicago, Texas, Kentucky, all coming to Delaware for the weekend. So I
Excellent.
love it. And then a few locals, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's great because that really starts to build up that interaction and the long distance customers and the connection with your shop. That's
Oh, well, I have some trunk shows coming for them too of some smaller designers that I think they're going to have a great time looking at because they haven't really seen them in person. So,
yeah. That's we've had a couple of guests here recently. There's a lot of new young designers that are
yep,
really, I think, putting some really great energy into particularly painted canvases, but just into the
yes,
hobby in general.
yep. SBT Stitches is phenomenal. Kimberly Ann is great. Amy Poor is phenomenal. These are all great girls. Lisette, they're all young, bringing a new vibe to the business. It's wonderful. And then the classics are great too. I mean, Kate Dickerson is amazing. There's so many great designers out there.
Yeah, yeah. It just the younger, yeah, the younger ones are connecting with the younger hobbyists,
Yes.
and that's different. All those people you named have been guests, and each one of them, you can just feel that connection in our discussions with them. The connection of with the younger crowd, which is the future of the hobby, and what it is they're looking for in designs, and just to really understand that younger group and give them something that they want to buy and they want to stitch these young ladies are really doing a great job of it. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, and they're really professional. I mean, their painting quality is beautiful. Um, Working with them has been phenomenal. It's just been a great experience.
Yeah.
And I really tried with my store to step out and try different designers that, newer, smaller designers that you don't see every day.
Mm-hmm.
I like that about that. I was trying to find some different designs.
Well, and that's just it. You got to find some kind of a niche for yourself too.
Yep.
Yeah. So you look, and you know that from the retail hobby. If you can find some little twist that sets you apart, that makes a big difference.
Yep. Yep.
Talk,
And I've definitely tried that.
talk about now, years ago, starting a store, you'd start a store, you'd run a few ads in the local paper and let it build up. But today it's social media, it's the internet. Talk about how you've worked that into and how you are working that into your overall business plan. I mean, that's so key anymore.
It is. It's really important. I have a big presence on my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my website. Everything I carry in my store is all connected to my website. So you can shop any time of the day on my website. So social media is just, you have to do it. It's so important nowadays. Everybody's out there looking. Everybody's looking for the right price on canvases or something different and unique.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the key to that is you got to make the time. You really have to discipline yourself to keep that social media going, because it's so easy to put that off to the end of the day, and then I'll do it first thing in the morning, and next thing you know, 3 days have gone by and you've done nothing.
Yeah. I try and post once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying not to be overkill, and I try and do different things. I try new, pic collage and all these different types of things to make the pictures look a little bit different,
Right.
So I try it without overkill. I'm hoping I'm not doing that, but once or twice a day.
Yeah, you have to find that happy medium. So what social media are you finding to be most effective? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Where are you finding that you're reaching the most people?
I would definitely say both of them.
Okay.
I would say both. I'm not sure one is stronger than the other. I think both. I'm going to kind of go with 50-50 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm asking this, just curiosity and for people to know, but also for my own personal experience, because I think I would answer the same way for us. It's really been because the Facebook groups offer something, yet Instagram really has that. Whoever thought that up, I think, really had something there, and it works well, especially for such a visual hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find and the stitcher is an experienced shopper. They know when they call for you for a canvas, they know their credit card, their expiration, they know what information you're going to ask them, and they have it ready. And it's kind of amusing because some people are not tech savvy, but they can give you their credit card and they know how to do it pretty well.
Yeah.
If you asked them to go, hook something up, they'd be like, I don't know how to do that. But call for a canvas or threads, they know exactly how to do that.
Can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Local marketing, has that been?
I really haven't done too much local marketing yet. The store I'm in, I did some renovations to, painting and things like that. And so the awnings out in the front still say Monograms Unlimited from the store before. I have to go through the town and get a permit to have it all changed. So my goal is, as soon as they approve that and I have the new awnings up, the Chamber of Commerce will do a ribbon cutting ceremony and a whole promotion, write a news article, and, I'll touch upon that type of local media things, so that's exciting. I have that to look forward to. And a funny thing in Rehoboth is they have metered parking up until September 15th. And a lot of the locals won't come down into town because they'll pay for parking. It's only like $2, $3, or I have I have three 30-minute meters in front of my store and they don't want to pay. So after September 15th, I know a lot of the locals will be coming to the store. As silly as that sounds, so, it'll be a whole different market.
Yeah.
Now that summer's over, they call it second summer down here, whereas it's beautiful weather. It's, sunny and you can go to the beach up until October and November. And it'll be our second summer now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I think people don't realize. That Gulf Stream running up the coast there changes the weather. And I know those of us here in the Midwest, we don't realize the impact that warm water has. And it really
Well, a
Makes it,
lot of people say Delaware. What? Where
yeah,
is it?
yeah,
I mean, they don't understand that I'm on the border of Maryland. So
right,
Ocean City, Maryland is only 7 miles from my house.
yeah, yeah.
So
When
people don't understand where we're located.
right, no, when Christine and I were doing the marine aquarium podcasts, we had a couple of guests who made it a practice this time of year to go diving,
Oh,
off of Long Island and all along the coast there, the Carolinas, because the tropical fish from the Caribbean get caught in the Gulf Stream
oh,
and
okay.
make their way up. So you can get tropical fish that make their way up in the Gulf Stream, and they're just going to die when winter sets in because they can't handle the cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, they thrive quite nicely off your coast, well into the almost November or so, and that's the impact of that Gulf Stream, that warm water. Yes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
lots of tropical fish out there that the bright yellows and blues and all those things. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't realize
So,
that. Yeah, so
exactly.
so you get orders. You really as a single person in the shop, you got retail customers coming in, but then you're getting online orders, which you got to get mailed that day if you can at all possible. So
Yep.
you're really juggling things then.
Yeah, but I'm kind of that type of person that the busier I am, the more efficient I am, and the more, I like to go, 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 go all day long. So I don't mind so far.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Well, that's
And I'm learning too as I go. I'm figuring it all out, how to get it all done, how to balance it. I had a crazy busy day all day last Friday, and I stayed late to get all the orders in and ready to ship, so they went out in the mail on Saturday.
hmm
So sometimes you have to do that.
So what's been the biggest challenge so far?
Ooh, I think it was working with the bank. That
Okay,
was challenging.
it's always
Um,
money. It's always money.
I know. But I have to say, I mean, some of these designers were so amazing and so helpful to me to get going. The minute I said I wanted to open a store, Kate Dickerson was like, I'll send you a trunk show to help you out. As soon as I announced I was opening up a store, Raymond Crawford, who I don't know, Kate I know well, Raymond Crawford called me and said, can I send you some stuff for a trunk show? Patty Mann, Hingham Square, like all these stores, all these designers really offered to get my business going and help. And that was so tremendous. I mean, that was, it's really helped me
Yeah,
get my business up and running.
yeah. Well, and as a startup store to have trunk shows come in, so you don't have to buy
Hmm.
a bunch of inventory. That's a huge plus there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's been I mean, the vendors, have just been amazing. Every single one generous, um, and just very, very helpful. Which is, it's really nice for a small industry to have such helpful people.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and then
stores, there's been stores that, Annie's in New York City and Osterville and Stitches by the Sea down in Florida. I mean, those stores have been so helpful. Any questions I have, and there's other people too, I'm forgetting everybody, but, if I have a question, I text them, they answer me, they help me, anything more I can do, that kind of thing. So it's really been wonderful to have so many people reach out and try and help.
yeah,
And I even had another store, Hillside Needlepoint. It was so nice. They hand wrote me a note, good luck. It's an adventure, good luck in your opening your new store. So that's been really wonderful.
yeah.
It's been welcoming.
So other than the name and the location, I assume your husband's done much more.
He hung about, I would say about 3,000 threads.
Oh, jeez. Okay, he earned it. Okay.
Yeah. My husband has been my, biggest cheerleader. He's just a great guy and been very helpful. And he comes in on Saturdays and Sundays. Although last Saturday he went to go bring a book with him, and I looked at him and said, "You're kidding, right? You're not going to read a book in my store. Like, we have things to do." And he laughed a little bit, and I said, "Yeah, no, the book doesn't come with you. We're going to be stickering merchandise and stuff like that." But yeah, he's been a huge help. He comes in on the weekends and helps me.
That's terrific to have that kind of support. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy.
So, all right. so we got talk about your stitching. How did you get started in this hobby?
It's funny. I've only been stitching since about 2009 or so. I started stitching. I was on the Cape with two of my best friends. One kind of stitched, but she said, I want to go over to Osterville when they were the town of Osterville. I'm going to go over to Osterville and pick up a new needlepoint. I said, okay. I walked in there. I said, oh, I love all this. I bought a big giant hydrangea, and Christine from Osterville, when she owned it, taught me how. I went home, stitched the whole thing, and fell in love. I actually had breast cancer in 2011, and that whole year I couldn't stitch with the chemotherapy and the radiation and everything. Mentally, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of sat back for a little bit, and then I picked it back up again and just loved it. So I've been stitching ever since.
And all of it needlepoint, all needlepoint.
All needlepoint, yeah. So a lot of things in my store. I'm doing promotions on breast cancer awareness, donating the money for breast cancer. My sister just passed away this month from breast cancer. And, so it means a lot to me. So anything with a pink ribbon, and I have an exclusive piece that I'm doing for the month of October, and it's being shipped to me right now. So I better start stitching when it arrives. But I'm going to do an exclusive piece for breast cancer awareness. So it's a big thing for me for October is breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
So everyone go out and get your mammograms.
Yes. It said on your website, I think somewhere, or I read somewhere, that you stitched all the models in the store.
Yes. I stitched all the models in my store. There's a lot of them. And they're all on my Facebook page, my Instagram page. I stitch a lot. My husband was overseas for 2 years. And during that time, I had a lot of time to stitch.
Uh-huh.
So I just, every, Sunday, I sat and stitched for 12 hours kind of thing.
Oh, geez. I have no idea what that's like. No idea.
Yeah, I know. I stitched a lot. So everything is in my stores, all the samples that I made.
Uh-huh. And now your stitching time now, very much at all?
The past month or two, no, but I'm starting to get back into it and come home at night and, start to stitch again.
Okay.
So I miss it. I've been so busy with paperwork and trying to get my website up to date and everything. So I miss it. I'm actually looking forward to, getting back into stitching every night.
So
I like to do it in front of the television.
starting to find a little time in the evening, huh?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I like to come home, me and my husband have dinner and sit in front of the television and stitch away for a few hours.
Yeah.
The later at night, the faster I stitch, as crazy as that sounds. So from 11 to 1 at night, I can stitch like you've never seen. Not so good in the morning, I'm tired. But
yeah, I was going to say, you're useless in the morning, but that happens. Yeah. So your stitching spot is the recliner in front of the TV. Yeah.
And I like to try new things. I'm not one that goes by the book. I like to try new things. I pull out every thread I have and try a few things. And I love books. I don't think that people utilize books enough of different stitches. People tend to buy the canvases and the threads, but they won't buy a book with new stitches. And I think that's a mistake. I think that they should, the books out there are so good.
Yes.
They provide so much information and diagrams on new stitches, and people should just experiment. Try it. You never know. If you don't like it, pull it out.
Yeah, it's almost hard to believe in this day that we have so many excellent books for stitching. And and they're an excellent, they're just a prime tool. I mean, almost better than something on your screen. They're just a really, really good, because you can mark them, you can can bookmark them, you can do any number of things with them. Yeah, and there's so many good books. And
Julia Schneider has a line of books that are phenomenal. Carolyn Hedge Bear's books are great. Stitches to Go. I mean, these are all. There's two other books. One's I forget, one's yellow and one's green, landscapes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're really great books, and people, they forget about the book part of it. But having these diagrams and just going in and saying, trying them is half of the battle, and you just try it out. You never know.
Yeah, we've been talking off and on the last few weeks about just that very thing of just trying. Mm-hmm. Trying things, and that leads me to stitch guides. There for a while, it seemed like everything I read on Facebook, is there a stitch guide for it? And I don't seem to be reading that as much anymore. Are stitch guides still in high demand, or are people starting to find their way to experiment?
No, I think they're really still in high demand. I think a lot of people are afraid to step out of the box, and they follow the stitch guides, mm-hmm. word for word, which is great because there's a lot of beautiful stitch guide writers and, that produce a lot of great, work. So I think it's good, but I do think that people should just try it. If you have an ornament, go for it. See what happens,
Yeah.
Try something new.
Yeah, I was listening to our last Gay Ann Rogers show, and one of the things she said in there about people being afraid to stitch some of her designs. And she said, I have no idea what people think is going to happen to them. Yeah. And I just kind of, I was driving at the time, I thought, yeah, she's got a point. It's not going to draw blood. You're not going to end up in the hospital. You just dig in and give it a shot and see what happens. It's only thread. You don't like it, cut it out and do it something else. Yes. Exactly.
Generally, the thread costs, $2, $3, $5. It's not like it's a big expense that you're wasting,
Right.
Go for it.
Right.
I think every one of my pieces has a mistake in it, in the pattern and whatever, and I figure it out, and hopefully you don't see it. Hopefully it's not obvious,
Yeah.
But there's not a piece that I make that, that I stitch that doesn't have a mistake in it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, join the club on that. Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. So, finishing, you have a framer that you can turn to, or where are you at on that?
Yeah, I have a finisher that does a beautiful job on everything she does, and I have a framer, actually a local framer here, who does the most amazing work, and he is so inexpensive that I don't want to tell him.
Ooh, yeah, be careful.
He'll change his price.
Be careful.
Yeah. He is so inexpensive. I can't believe it. I get, every time he gives me a quote, I just pay for it and run, hoping that he doesn't realize he's losing money, because when I lived in Connecticut, everything you framed was, $500, $600. Like, I can walk in there and spend $100, $125 on the same piece.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So don't tell him.
Yeah. No kidding. Wow.
I don't want it to get too busy. And I brought something in on Saturday to be framed for one of the designers that I stitched for. I had something for market for her, and she wanted me to get him framed. I brought it in on Saturday. He called me today and said it's ready already. So
holy smokes.
Yep.
That ain't right.
Yeah. And it's going to be, and this is a piece that'll probably be, 10 by 10 kind of thing. And they were not expensive. They were both under $100.
Oh.
I couldn't believe it. So I don't want to tell them. Shh, don't tell them.
No. I want after we're done with the show, I want his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And he does it. And this is for double and triple matting.
Oh, really? Oh, my.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
So it's not even it's not just a museum glass and all.
Boy, don't wake him up. Mm-mm.
Nope, don't tell. So it's nice, I have some people who are starting to bring some finishing in. It's hard because it's kind of past the September 1st deadline, but I say, I hope you'll get it back by Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I have a bunch of shop samples that I've done recently that I sent to the finisher, and I said, do not do until January.
Mm-hmm.
Take a break. Don't worry about these for Christmas. So
yeah. So you're off to Dallas here. Actually, it'll either be happening or have just happened when this airs. So what are you looking for there? Are you just going to shop and see what you see, or do you have a plan? How do you go about that with your business so new?
I feel I'm pretty well stocked on canvases. I need a lot more 13 mesh, a lot of, as the older ladies like to say, I can't see so well. I want to, 13 mesh. I said, okay. So I'll do a lot more of that and a lot more accessories, laying tools, magnets, that kind of stuff. They want that kind of cash and carry type of, at the register type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking for a lot of that.
Yeah, that whole aspect of the hobby, it's been interesting. I really have seen it just kind of come to life it seems to me in the last year, where people are wanting to have a needle minder that kind of goes with a project, and these project bags. Oh boy, it seems like people can't do a project anymore without a project bag, and
Absolutely.
Which is great. I mean, it makes the whole thing so much more fun. And I think for a lot of people, having a project bag keeps things organized for them.
Yeah.
with their 18 different projects going at once. Yeah. If I don't have it in a bag, I'm lost. But, it really is, I think, I mean, just my perception that it's a rapidly growing, aspect of the hobby is thread, canvas, needles, and then now I got to have a bag and a needle minder that kind of goes with it. Oh, yes. Yes.
Scissors to match.
Yes.
If you do an American flag, canvas, you got to have an American flag scissor.
Yep.
Or a key, a scissor fob where it hangs off of it, and all that kind of stuff. And that's where I definitely didn't buy enough of. Mm-hmm. And I also didn't buy, I'm looking for more local things. So having painters do things that mean something. So, people who are on vacation, they can pick up a canvas from the area, that kind of thing. So
that you frequently see that where people will come back from a trip and I bought this and this is how I'm going to remember the trip, rather than a magnet to go on the refrigerator. But I've got a small canvas, a little ornament or something. So
so that's where those are the few things I'm definitely looking for. Some ideas to paint up some new canvases for me, small ones, ornaments type of thing. Souvenirs from a trip, and the accessories.
Yeah. What fun.
Yeah. It's been exciting. I mean, I have to say I'm overwhelmed with the excitement, with the enthusiasm. The customers have been wonderful. They walk in the door, I'm so glad you're finally open. It's great to hear.
Yeah, and then you have the Christmas season coming up. That's going to be interesting experience there in terms of I got to believe you're going to get busy. Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. I hope you're right. Yeah, I've been busy every day. So now that, like I said, now it's the vacationers are kind of going home. Now it's more the locals coming out.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't have to pay for parking. Excellent.
Yeah, they don't pay for parking. So it's a very funny thing. I had a customer who the money was not an issue, and she says, I'll be back after the 15th to pick up that canvas. I won't come before. I don't want to pay for the parking. Okay, that's great. I'll hold it for you. No problem.
Yep, be right here. Yeah.
It'll be right here safe and sound, but she will not pay. And money is not the problem. It's principle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In our little town, I should not have to pay to park to do business. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So, but it's been great. I mean, I've really just met a lot of wonderful stitchers. I had one cute girl, she was 12 years old, came into my store every day, and she'd pull up a chair and she started stitching a little elephant, a little whale, and she was fun to watch, and I enjoyed her.
Oh, is that the one you posted on?
Yeah.
Oh, she's cute. She's
cute.
She
was adorable. She came in and talked to me every day, and I miss not having her,
Yeah.
She came in and visited me either, just to talk, and she came in every day.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. And her sister stitches too, and she's 14. So
Uh-oh.
Hopefully I brought it back to them, and they come back every August. They spend the month in Rehoboth. I hope they'll come back and visit me next year.
I'm pretty sure they will. Will. Yep. Well, Patti, this has been a treat. Thank you for making time for us. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been great.
Yep. And good luck with your shop, and hey, we'll check in somewhere down the road and see how things are going. So
great. I would love that.
Yep. Good for you. All right. So Patti Hoffmann, Stitch Staff in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and it's stitch-stash.com. And yeah, everything she has is right on the website there. Believe me, I checked it out already. So you can buy, right there. Yeah, she'll take care of you. Yeah.
Even threads are on my website. So if anyone wants to buy threads, they can buy them off my website. I'll do free shipping on thread orders.
There we have it.
Because it's hard. If anyone wants to buy threads, they don't want to pay $7 shipping on a $3 thread.
Right, exactly. So, yep. Pepper pot silks. Oh, man.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Patty, thanks so much. Thanks to everyone for listening to us. And Christine and I will be back on Wednesday.